Hello YouTube. So this is my 4 LEDs. I have reflowed all of them. I had oriented the LEDs backwards on the boards, so I reflowed them in my last video and flipped them around, and now I have tested all 4 of them, and here is the last of the 4 lighting up bright as the sun. Damn, that thing is bright. So, working like a champ. All 4 of them are piercingly bright like that. So anyway, just to reiterate what I did, I took this little blob of solder, I put it in the frying pan, aluminum frying pan specifically, and I heated up the frying pan to the point where this turned to liquid. I have some flux here, and I dropped a drop of flux on the blob of solder just to clean it up to make sure that it truly was optimally liquid. And that spot, that temperature setting on the burner, is the place that is the ideal spot for flowing. Too much heat, more than that, and you will fry your LEDs, you'll overcook them. Too little heat from that, and your solder won't flow. So when these guys are designed at the whatever place they do that at, they take into account that the LED needs to survive the temperature needed to melt solder. And so as long as you don't exceed that temperature by very much, then your LED will survive, and in fact they will be just fine. The other thing is you want to make sure that you don't thermally shock the LED. So in my other video, you will notice that I put the stars in there, and they are at the temperature of the oven, or the frying pan rather. And after I had flipped them around, then I turned the burner off and I let things cool off until the solder had solidified again. And then at that point, that's when I took the LEDs out and let them cool separate from the frying pan. That way the LEDs don't suffer any thermal shock. They're undamaged that way. And in fact, I've proven that because all 4 of these have survived floating not just once but twice. The first time, being mounted on the stars backwards, and then the second time flipped around, and they all shine just as bright as this one does, just brilliantly bright LEDs without any damage whatsoever. So anyway, there you go. And oh, by the way, this is another board that I bought, and I did not use solder paste. I used solder. All I had to do was, when it got up to temperature, was run the solder across it and let the solder flow across the entire pads. And that's exactly how I did these guys essentially. I put solder on here, and then I dropped the LED in place, got the thing lined up, and they kind of wiggle back and forth on the 3 little pads on here. And when that's all done and I've got everything oriented right, you kind of give the LED a little tap on the top of it, and it squirts the extra solder out. And at that point, that LED is done. You move on to the next one and do all of them all the same way. So anyway, it works pretty flawlessly. Just don't use too much heat or too little heat. Just got to get that solder blob at the exact right temperature where it turns into liquid. You don't need to know what the temperature is, because when that guy's liquid, you're at that spot. Too much heat than that, and you're going to fry your LEDs. So anyway, there you go. Hope that helps.